Hello crafty friends, this is the Paper Chef here. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a stamping mask using your Brother ScanNCut. The stamp set we'll be using is called Butterfly Gala, and it's by Stampin Up, and it's in our 2019 Occasions catalog. And not only that, after we create our mask, then I'm going to show you what you can do with the mask as far as putting, we're going to use the mask to cover up these butterflies while adding a background image to the stamp, and it's going to make a beautiful card or bookmark or any kind of project, and you'll be able to relate to this and do it with some other stamps that you may already have. So this is our Butterfly Gala stamp set. It's beautiful, and it has like two-step stamping where you can color in the butterflies with these, like you stamp the butterflies and color them in with solid shapes. Okay, and then the stamp set we'll be using after we create the mask is going to be the Crackle Paint. So we're going to mask out the butterflies, protecting those while putting the Crackle Paint in the background. Now I chose to get the Crackle Paint as a cling stamp and put it on my acrylic block, but you may choose, just if you don't have a big giant acrylic block, to just get a wooden block stamp. Okay, please check out this catalog, which will be linked below. There'll be a link to my store, there'll be a link to the PDF of the catalog, and there'll be a contact form if you want to request a printed catalog, because some people love having a printed catalog. There's the Crackle Paint set we'll be using in a little while. All right, so prior to this tutorial, what I have done is I have stamped several card bases, and I've used the Butterfly Gala butterfly stamp, and I used Whisper White cardstock, so I've stamped them. Okay, the concept is, before I start doing the scan and cut part, is that we're creating stamping mask. We're going to create this areas of butterfly that we can then, we're going to cover up the butterflies on our card. Okay, we're going to mask them. We're covering them up. And then we're going to be able to put our nice background stamp in the background, and then we're going to be left with this really cool effect where the butterflies look like they're blending in with the crackled paint. Okay, so it's a concept I've been working on for many days, and I'm actually developing a whole course for Skillshare on how to make this card from start to finish, including how to cut out the pattern paper and all the other parts. So if you are the type of person that loves to see everything broken down into smaller steps, then please check out the links to my Skillshare courses where I do just that. All right, we're going to go in and we're going to use the scan and cut now. Okay, we're just going to use some stamps that I've already stamped ahead of time. Okay, and I've stamped them in it. This one is in Blueberry Bushel. It doesn't really matter what you stamp them in. The point is I'm putting this on the mat. Okay, and we're going to just go home on the scan and cut. And we'll zoom out a little bit. Okay, and we're going to go into scan. Let's get my stylus. Yay, I have my stylus. Okay, scan, and we're going to say direct cut. We're going to, in a way, directly cut out the butterflies. In a way, because we're not really cutting out these exact butterflies. We're going to make a mask for them. So I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to scan in these butterflies either way. Black and white recognition mode is what we want, because there's good contrast between the foreground and the background. So let's go ahead and say start. Now, in the interest of saving time, I'm probably just going to, I already have a couple butterflies cut out, so I'll just cut out two more to show you this. Okay, so what it's done is it's scanned and it's select the butterflies. So if you were to cut out stamped images, this is what you would do. You would do this, right now you would cut out the stamped images by adding an outline distance, okay, and all the things I've taught you in my tutorials. So please check out my cutting out stamped images tutorials all over YouTube. But right now we're not doing that. What we are doing is creating a stamping mask. So I'm going to select the area I want, and I said I'm just going to cut out two butterflies for now for the masking technique. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to just go ahead and preview. I don't want an outline distance. I want these butterflies to be the exact size of the stamped butterfly. So I'm just going to say preview, and I'm going to say okay, and then I'm just going to delete all the butterflies I don't want. I could have used ignore object size, but instead I'm just going to go in here to this little edit mode and just get rid of the butterflies I don't want. So let's get rid of, I just need 2 of those. Only because I have more. You would just get as many as you need for your project. Okay, there. I want these 2 butterflies. I'm going to say okay. Now, instead of cutting, I'm taking this off the mat, okay? I don't want to cut these out right now because when I cut stamped images, I like an outline distance around them. Instead, I'm going to put a piece of black cardstock from Stampin' Up into the mat, into the ScanNCut, and I'm going to put it right where it goes, so like at least 3 inches over, or at least no more than 3 inches over. In other words, I want these butterflies to land on my black cardstock when I cut them out. Now, because I'm using black cardstock, basic black cardstock by Stampin' Up, I'm going to use a blade depth of 5 for basic black cardstock. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these butterflies out. Okay, I'm going to hit start, and I'm always giving it a rub. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving them, the mats are not always very sticky, so I'm just giving them the paper a little rub, causing some friction and heat, and that way it doesn't slip off my mat. Okay, I'm going to say finish cutting, unload the mat. Okay, and okay. So what we are left with is this. Okay, we didn't cut out the stamped images at all. We cut out the stamping. We cut out the mask. These little butterflies, which we're going to use to mask the background, and then we cut out this thing, which is great. Wait till you see what we do with this. We're going to actually use that as the reverse, and we're going to after we cover the butterflies and do our background, we're going to then use this part to color in our butterflies. I would have shown you my projects ahead of time, but you know how I am, crafty friends. I like to show you my projects at the end because, it's just something I like to do where it causes some intrigue. Like, what is she doing? All right, so here we are. I'm taking this thing this is just from the dollar store, Dollar Tree. It's like a little baker's, what is it called? Baker's liner. And I'm just protecting my table with it, so I just have a little piece of silicone. All right, so we need the ones I've pre-stamped ahead of time. So here we have these, and I'm even going to bend the camera a little more because I need to when you use a background stamp, you sort of should be over your image. And what I'm going to do is lay these out one at a time. I am going to put these little butterflies onto the card. Okay. They're going to cover up the stamped butterflies, and then we're going to put the background stamp over that. And the background stamp is the same color. It's called Crackle Paint, and I just love it. Now you could use, if you're using your Stamparatus right now, just the act of closing the Stamparatus would make these move, and you cause a little bit of wind from the flap. So you would use removable glue dots for these. You could hold these on with removable glue dots. But I found from my experimentation is that if I use removable glue dots right now, the butterflies are up too high and the stamp didn't have the right kind of contact with the paper that I needed. Okay, this will go faster as we do more, but this is just the overview part. So I'm using Crackle Paint. Awesome, awesome stamp. My brain was just overloaded with ideas of what to do with this Crackle Paint when I got it. I'm so excited about it. And what I've done is I've mounted mine onto an acrylic block, and the block is called Block F by Stampin' Up. I'm actually planning on getting the whole set of blocks. I just have a few of the blocks, but I want to get the whole set in the carrying case too. So one of these days, all right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to ink it using gray granite. Okay, and you could use crumb cake, worked really good. I used crumb cake as well. And any kind of neutral color that looks like paint would work on this, work on this kind of stamp. And so maybe you're thinking, well, I already have a background stamp. I want to try this right away. If you have a ScanNCut, if you have any kind of large format background stamp, you can try this technique right away. So I'm giving it good coverage. And like I said, I also have a Stamparatus, but I chose not to use it for this particular project. I like using my stamping block. I just like the control I have. And I'm going to put that stamping block right on top of my card. And I'm going to press down And because I'm using that matte, and I could use the Stampin' Up one, but it's a little small. Like, use a silicone mat, and it has a little bit of a cushion in it. Not only that, it protects your table. And then you can lift that up, and then you're left with awesome, awesome, awesome. That's what I want. You're left with just these butterflies that blend into the background. Okay, so let's do this a couple more times to let you look at that one, and we're just gonna put the next one down. I'll move this one up. Okay, and we'll put this one down, and we'll cover up the butterflies again. Like I said, I have classes on 2 platforms. I have classes on Udemy Academy, and I have classes on Skillshare. And Skillshare classes break these kind of card projects down step by step, and it takes over an hour to make a card, and you find out how to make it from step by step. And then the ones on Udemy are like how to use your Brother ScanNCut from start to finish as far as features. So if you're just struggling with like, I don't even know how to take my ScanNCut out of the box yet, then please check out my basics course. And everything will be linked below. But here we go. I'm doing this one more time. And I'm just placing the stamped background stamp onto my card. And as you can imagine, if I would use glue dots, it would have raised the butterflies up a little bit, and it would have caused them hard to have contact with the Crackle Paint to the background. All right, so I'm loving these. So that's what I was trying to achieve, and that's what I achieved. So I have enough to show you the next step. So we're going to work with these 2. And of course, when I make cards, I mass produce. That's what the Brother ScanNCut lets you do. You know, I cut out all these pieces with the Brother ScanNCut. All these card bases. Just makes it so easy. All right, so now we're going to take the reverse. So here's we've used the one part of the butterfly, and now we're going to put this over the top. And those of you that watch my YouTube channel know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take out my handy sponges that I love, and these are not Stampin' Up, but I will have a link to Amazon, so it won't cost you any more to use my link. But if you're going to shop on Amazon, go ahead and use my link to these awesome sponges. Okay, these are Stampin' Up, so I'm going to use 1 butterfly in Balmy Blue ink, because we have the best inks for sure. Okay, 1 in Highland Heather and 1 in Grapefruit Grove. The reason I'm using these 3 colors is because they coordinate. How do I know they coordinate? Color theory. Stampin' Up figures all this out for us. We don't have to figure out what coordinates. We just simply color. So I'm opening them all up. And if you ever like open up your stamps and you're like, which one did I open? I look on the bottom all the time and go, oh, that's Balmy Blue. It tells you on the bottom what color it is. It's a little trick. All right, so let's take a little stamping block. So normally you could just dip right into the ink, but I don't want to dip in and get too much ink. So I'm just gonna, we'll just do this one in Highland Heather. So I just take an acrylic block, I dip it into the ink, and then I'm just gonna sponge color. So now I'm protecting the Crackle Paint. So in other words, I'm not coloring the Crackle Paint, I'm coloring just the butterfly. Okay, and so while you have your one color of ink, we have Highland Heather out, we should just do the other card. So then we're done and we could shut the ink. Or actually I would do probably 20 cards like this at a time, because that's how I roll. I always do a lot at once. Okay, but let's just do the second card just to give you an idea. So we're going to just take this mask. Well, there you go. That's how it came out. Very easy peasy. And now I'll make this one Highland Heather this time at the bottom. So I'll do that one. So you're just masking just a little bit of ink on your acrylic block. And again, my sponge matches. I even put them in bags later, which are labeled with the color. So this part, okay, this part stays. It's Velcro. This part stays. And then my little sponges attached. So I have like 100 little sponges. I have like every color imaginable. But I only need a couple of these handle thingamajigs. All right, so there. Awesome. So that's done. And now we'll just do, so we're done. So what's nice is then I can close the Highland Heather and you'll put it away. And now we'll do some Grapefruit Grove. And we can use, if you want, you can make your mask just so the colors don't touch each other. Like this was, you could even label like, hey, I'm using Highland Heather on that butterfly. Even though it's black, you still don't want to mix colors. So maybe it's good to use a different mask for each one. So now I'm just going to get my acrylic block and dip into the Highland Heather. I'm sorry, the Grapefruit Grove. And I'm going to rub that around, the ink. And I'm going to sponge color. And it's just, I love like the even coverage you get using this technique. And everybody has like their preference in products, and yes, I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but I'm a crafter first, and I use like whatever the best products are. Some of them are Stampin' Up!, some of them are not, so hey. I know some people are purist, and they say, oh, you should only demonstrate products from the company, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? I think you should demonstrate whatever products you want, because you have to do what you're comfortable with, and this is what I'm comfortable with. I've been using this kind of technique for years. All right, I'm happy with that. So now we're going to do one more, and we're going to use Balmy Blue, but I'm going to close that Grapefruit Grove because, you know, you get ink all over your table if not. So we'll put the Balmy Blue there. We use a different part of the acrylic block I haven't used yet, you know, because you don't want to mix the inks together. And you have your sponge dedicated to the Balmy Blue. And I'm just going to get another part of the mask. I'll just use that. I did these ones earlier, so that's why I have so many butterflies cut out. And I've been using them over and over. When you use Stampin' Up! Cardstock, which is very thick, it's amazing. Like it doesn't disintegrate. You can use this mask, you know, masking technique like 100 times before it will disintegrate. And even if you let it dry, it probably won't disintegrate, but sometimes mine's a little wet. All right, that's kind of a dark butterfly, but that's okay. I'm liking it anyway. I'm going to make the next one a little bit lighter. Put that there. I'm going to make this one slightly lighter because I think it was just a little dark for Balmy Blue. All right, so I need a little bit of ink on my acrylic block. Now, in the old style stamp pads, you could like squeeze, get some ink on the top of the lid, and it was just much easier. Oh yeah, I think I like that better. I do, I like that better, not as dark. But that's what's great, the sponging technique, you just keep adding ink, and that's how you get the look you want to achieve. All right, so now you know how I did all this. To review, and then I'm going to show you my project. So to review, we started out with gray granite, okay, and we just simply, gray granite, and we just simply stamped the butterflies ahead of time on Whisper White cardstock. We used our Brother ScanNCut to make the exact shape so we could protect it. Then when we colored in the background of the Crackle Paint, this part was not colored in, okay, and then we just used the reverse, okay, we used the butterfly to protect then the background while we colored in the images. Okay, so now I will show you my projects I created as a result of using this technique. And the first is a couple of bookmarks. And so for this technique, I used these bookmarks here. I created these bookmarks, and I used the technique that I just showed you, cut them into bookmarks. And then I also used, if you could see that, like the Wink of Stella, the glitter pen. And the reason I used that is because I'm using this nice ribbon, you know, from our occasions catalog. And the ribbon is already glittery. It goes in the classic cart. It's in the classic garage suite. I'll have links to all the products I used. Anyway, this ribbon matched, and it was already glimmery, so I used the glimmery, you know, glitter pen called Wink of Stella. Okay. So that's the bookmarks that you can use for this masking technique. And then I did this one. I did a similar technique, except I double stamped. So I took the Crackle Paint stamp and I did it twice. And I liked how it looks more like wood that way. And instead of using the sponging technique, I used the blends markers. Okay, so I used Highland Heather blends markers, light and dark, and I used Balmy Blue blends markers light and dark. The only disadvantage of this technique is when you use the alcohol markers, it fades right through. So now I need a whole other layer back here. I'm gonna have to take like a balmy blue cardstock, put it back there for that one. Okay, and then anyway, this punch is a new punch. It's being released like soon, and it's gonna be available for customers soon, and it coordinates with some of our celebration products, and it's called the Story Label Punch, and that's how I got this Hello Beautiful. And I also got the Hello Beautiful sentiment from the set, from here. Just so you know, we're talking about Butterfly Gala, so I got this Hello Beautiful, and then I'm gonna show you my little note. So this is the one that I'm breaking down into an entire course on how to make this card, because we will cut out the stamped images, we'll cut out the masking. We're going to cut out the pattern paper. These are not stamped images. This is actually pattern paper. It's a free celebration product. You get this paper free if you spend $50 or more at my store, and the paper is called Botanical Butterfly. All right, so this card has lots of techniques like the masking and the cutting out pattern paper, and it uses Grapefruit Grove as a card base. Okay, and it uses Highland Heather for the sentiment, and I'm using a lot of inking around the edges. I'm inking around the edges of these little banners, and I show you how I make the curve and the whole thing. And it's blank inside for now, but I'll probably put a piece of white, Whisper white cardstock to write the note. All right, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you can apply it to your own crafting projects that you do with your ScanNCut. Bye for now. This is the Papered Chef.